My toxic friend lies to my face when she says that she found someone to watch my dogs while I'm out of state for 3 weeks on vacation. But once I found out that my friend lied to me, I freaked out, forcing me to come home early, spending over $4,000 on flights just to get home so that I could make sure that my dogs were still alive. But now my mom is saying that I overreacted after I blocked my friend and ended my friendship, claiming that I should have worked things out instead of blocking her in the way that I did. And at this point, with all things considered, I feel very lost and I really don't know what to do. Here's what happened. Okay, so me and my entire family and extended family planned a trip out of state for 3 weeks. And prior to this, I had arranged with my good friend to get someone in my house to house sit and watch my 2 dogs. And she was a great help. She organized someone to come in for the time that we were gone, or at least that's what she told me. 1 week into our trip, I was in the middle of the desert with barely any phone reception. I happened to check my Ring camera and I noticed that no one had been in my house for 4 days, which means that my dogs were left alone with no food for 4 days. I was literally distraught. I messaged her immediately and she said to me, "Oh, I didn't know. So-and-so was supposed to go to the house." Well, I ended up finding out that she had lied about the house sitter because guess what? There was no house sitter ever. She had gone a few times to feed them prior to this and that was it. She made no attempts to help further or even rectify anything else. So once that conversation happened, I immediately ended up messaging my ex-boyfriend to go to my house and check on my dogs. Now for reference, I had no contact with him prior to this for several months, but luckily he did go and he did check on my dogs. Since before left alone though, my dogs had decided to go to the bathroom all over my bed, ruining my mattress and my bedding. They chewed my brand new lounges, chewed on my kids' wooden beds, and just completely trashed my house. I finally ended up making it to our holiday destination a few days later and paid $4,000 for an emergency flight back home to my dogs. The whole time leading up to my flight out, I was a wreck though. It completely ruined my holiday. I saved up for this with my kids. I had paid so much money in travel cost, only to then have it all cut short, and the remaining time I had was filled with anxiety and stress about my house and my dogs. Now, as a side note, I am a single mom, and this was far beyond anything I can financially recover from. Upon arrival, my house was full of maggots because my bins had not been taken out. My bedding was wrecked, the floors were covered in dog waste, there was a dead bird in the backyard, and my dogs just had free range of my house without any supervision. It was a horrific state to come home to, and I've literally cleaned for 48 hours straight. I then messaged my friend, and I told her that I was beyond upset, and that it was probably best that our friendship was done, that this completely ruined my holiday, it drained my savings, and that she let me down beyond words could even say. It was, to me, a massive betrayal. Well, she ignored my message and left me on red, and now I guess she's upset with me. My mom thinks that I'm overreacting when I said I had to end that friendship and move on from it, and that I could have just worked it out and been more understanding, but my dogs are an important part of my family, and I entrusted someone to not only care for them, but to also look after my house as well. I am still a complete wreck. I have cried nonstop for a week, and I don't think I will ever emotionally or financially recover from the week that I just had. So am I overreacting in this situation? What should I do? Before we go any further, the original poster has provided some updates. Here's what they had to say. Okay, the first and foremost important thing is that my dogs are okay. I flew home to them to ensure this, but also, yes, I am upset about the money I had to spend and my damaged property. I am only human, and I am an autistic one at that. And this all was a lesson I have paid for greatly, not just financially, but emotionally as well. I'm also consumed with guilt about my actions and anxiety that my dogs could have passed away. There is a lot of sadness and anger and some guilt regarding all of it. Now, for the record, I did empty my bins and clean my house for the house sitter that was supposed to be there, but as I left, I placed a single can of dog food in the bin, which clearly attracted flies. But I was under the assumption that someone would be house sitting, so they would be taking out the bins. Now, I've also read all the comments, and as harsh as some of them are, I agree. I'm an idiot. I acknowledge and accept my role in this, and not taking it solely upon myself to organize, vet, and pay for proper dog care. Leaving my dogs in the hand of someone else without proper information was a massive mistake and poor judgment on my part. In my last text message to her, I acknowledge this and I apologize for leaving them with her when they were clearly my responsibility. It's also important to note that there is barely any phone service or reception where I was traveling. I was traveling across the country in a car, camping along the roads and round townhouses in the desert, and I was also checking my dogs every chance I got, and it was between phone service that I left them unchecked. But then once I checked on them, I messaged my friend about it immediately and planned some other interventions with my ex-boyfriend. Now, I don't think that my friend had any ill intentions, to be completely honest. I do think she lied about a house sitter, but in my humble opinion, I truly believe that she thought she could handle it all as she promised me and simply just couldn't do it. And then it got to the point where my dogs were left alone for several days. My gripe is that I don't think she thought I would check the cameras, and if I hadn't checked on them, I think my dogs would have been left longer and possibly passed away. I think it all just got beyond her control, but I don't really have an answer for her. Now, I did not explicitly ask for her help initially or force onto her the care of my dogs. She offered to help, and I accepted her help because she apparently knew people, and I was just blindly and naively trusting her as a friend. Well, as a result of all of this, I have no further contact with this friend, and I did block her yesterday, as I didn't think I wanted to hear any replies or excuses that she might have. Now, regardless of all actions by everyone, including myself, my dog still got left alone for several days, and she knew that they were alone and didn't tell me or even care. And I seriously don't think that she had any intentions of telling me had I not found out by myself. Wow, this is a heavy one. Seriously, this friend is an absolute piece of garbage. We're talking grade A, absolutely terrible human being. So let me get this straight. She not only lied about having someone available to house sit and watch after the dogs, but she also didn't bother to tell you about that, even though she knew that you would be gone for 3 weeks. Seriously, what is going on right now? That is not a good person. Never mind the fact that she was supposed to be a friend. She is straight up just a monster, because the original poster has it right. Their dogs could have easily passed away. They would have been left without any kind of food for 3 weeks. And I don't know about you, but I couldn't go more than a day without food. On the morning of day 2, I would be very hungry and be like, wait a second, I need something in my system. So the fact that 4 days went by and the dogs were still up and alive is not only a miracle, but also so concerning. Now also, your mom is completely wrong. There is no keeping the peace at this point. Your friend betrayed your trust and lied to your face. She put your dogs in jeopardy, and she made you spend over $4,000 just to get home and take care of this. Not to mention the fact that there's property damage and you're kind of traumatized by the whole scenario. So truly, you did the right thing by cutting this friend loose and saying, no, you are no longer my friend. And anyone who would possibly say otherwise in this scenario, in my opinion, is completely out of their mind. If you like Am I the Jerk, you're probably going to love Am I the Genius. Check it out, link down below in the description. Also, go to amithejerk.com/submit if you would like to submit your own stories. Am I the jerk for turning a wedding dress into a cosplay rather than letting my cousin have it for her wedding? Because right now, everyone's upset with me and my girlfriend, and at this point, I really don't know what to do. Here's what happened. I'm a 27-year-old female, and I'm an avid cosplayer. My girlfriend and I go to all of the conventions that we can, and we have a lot of fun making our costumes together and prepping for the year. 3 months ago, myself, my girlfriend, and my cousin went around charity shops looking for pieces that we could turn into cosplays. My cousin isn't a cosplayer, but she tagged along as she likes a good bargain hunt. In the third shop that we went to, we found in the window an old school wedding dress. It had a few stains and some minor rips, but overall it was in good condition. My girlfriend and I joke with my cousin that she should buy it for her wedding, but she turned her nose up at it, stating that she wanted brand new and she would not be caught dead in an old-fashioned dress. So we let it go, and my girlfriend was the one to point out to me that if we did some alterations, it would be a perfect duplicate for Sarah's ball gown in Jim Henson's Labyrinth, which is our favorite movie. Well, after that, I realized that she was right, and I asked her if she wanted to make this our next major matching costume, and she agreed for the convention season of 2025 that we will be Jareth and Sarah. So I bought the dress, and my cousin made a few jokes about it, and we heard nothing back from her until about 2 days ago. I've been posting progress of my dress on social media, and it's finally done, and it looks absolutely amazing. Well, my cousin told me that she had not found a dress that she likes, and because I've done wonders with this dress, she said that she had changed her mind and that she would be happy to meet the price that I had paid and even throw in an extra $100 for my time fixing it up. So basically, she was now saying that she wanted the dress. Well, when she said this, I laughed, and I asked her if she was joking, but she told me that she was serious. But I told her that was not going to happen. This then led to a fight, and I was getting so annoyed. At this point, my girlfriend took the phone and told her that she had a chance to get the dress, but now it's being used for cosplay and it's no longer a wedding dress. Well, ever since then, we've been bombarded by my family trying trying to get in contact with me, some of them pleading or even cajoling us, and others straight up berating us for not letting my cousin buy the dress, or even better yet, being a good cousin and gifting it to her. They're saying that I shouldn't turn a charity shop wedding dress into a costume, as it stops brides from getting it who actually needed it. Now at this point, I'm getting stressed out, and I'm getting very upset with this, and my girlfriend is currently fielding any calls we get and telling them off for upsetting me. She is an absolute wonder, and I'm so grateful to have her with me through this. But seriously, am I the jerk in this situation? Right now, I'm starting to worry because of the widespread reaction. This is the first time I've bought a wedding dress to convert like this, but it was already damaged, and I'm the one that brought it back to life. So surely it's better than it being ignored like it was. What should I do? No, you and your girlfriend are definitely not the jerk here. You gave your cousin so many opportunities to buy that dress. You literally said, hey, we could fix this up and it could be a good dress for you. And instead of just taking it and running with it, she decided to make fun of it and be like, wow, I would never use that. I want something better than this garbage. So the fact that she's now going back on her original statement and being like, oh, I'm just kidding, I want that dress now, and then freaking out and telling everybody how awful you are because you said no, like that is so hypocritical, it's not even funny. For starters, that would be the last time I ever interact with that cousin ever again, but also these people are insane for treating you this way. Because seriously, you're not doing anything wrong with this. Just because you fixed it up and suddenly it looks good on social media doesn't mean that your cousin can step in and take it from you. Like, what is she doing? That's so weird. So no, of course you're not the jerk. Anyone agreeing with your cousin right now is out of their mind, and the way she's acting is completely unacceptable. Am I the jerk for telling my husband that he and his mother ruined our wedding day for me after they forced me to take photos that I didn't want to take? Here's what happened. Okay, so I got married to my husband very recently. Neither of us really liked the spotlight, so we agreed on a small event. The only thing I was firm about was that I didn't want photos. My self-esteem is in the toilet, and in the last 18 months, I've put on weight. I'm not looking to make any excuses, but there are some reasons why. For starters, in the last 18 months, I lost both my parents and my grandmother. I have lost 2 jobs and a future child. My depression has hit me hard at times, and I have been comfort eating. I also was put on a new medication, and weight gain is a side effect. Also, about a year ago, I broke my left ankle really badly. I've had 3 surgeries to date, and I can't walk without having a lot of pain. So I really didn't want photos that would remind me of the fact that I am now fat. Well, a few weeks before the wedding, my mother-in-law is talking about going to a local beauty spot for photos, but I respond by saying no thank you, and that yes, I am being serious. My husband hears this, and later that night, I say again that I really don't want photos, and he says that this is fine with him. Well, a week before the wedding, I'm having the same conversation with my mother-in-law and my husband, and on the day of the wedding, my father-in-law and mother-in-law pick us both up. And for reference, I'm no longer able to drive as I can't move my ankle. We get the whole legal shindig done, and as we're going back to the car, my mother-in-law once again says that we should go to the beauty spot for photos. So again, I say no, but she tells my father-in-law to drive there, and my husband the entire time is just sitting there, and I know I gave him the look, but still he sat there in silence. Well, to make a long story short, the photos are taken and we head back. In the car driving home, my mother-in-law starts showing me the photos, and I just hate myself in them. I look so fat, and I look ridiculous in a dress with a medical boot, and I can't stop the tears from rolling down my cheeks. Well, this upsets my mother-in-law, and there's a weird atmosphere for the rest of the day. And to be completely frank, I really tried to move on, but I had to get out of that stupid dress, and all I really wanted to do was hide away. Privately, I told my husband that he and his mother ruined our wedding day for me, because all I could think of were those photos. He said he didn't realize I was so serious about no photos, and that it's only for his mom to keep, and that he thinks I look beautiful. I told him that we're not even 30 minutes into our marriage, and he already totally let me down, and I don't know if I'm beyond hurt or just furious. He then said that I was being ridiculous, and that I let him down by making such a fuss over a normal part of weddings. He also said that I had hurt his mother, and that I need to reassure her that she hasn't done anything wrong, and for reference, she has some kind of mental health issues, and has been obsessing over me crying on my wedding day. Well, I told him no, and there will be serious problems if he tries telling her otherwise, because as far as I'm concerned, they both totally ignored my one request, and that was unacceptable. He thinks that I'm being totally unreasonable and that I'm being the jerk. So I seriously need to know, am I the jerk in this situation? What should I do? Before we go any further, the original poster actually has an update. Here's what they had to say. Okay, to start things out, I've received a lot of comments saying that I disregard disregarded my husband's wishes on his wedding day. So I decided to ask him directly, and I asked him straight up, did you want those photos, and just said that you didn't just to appease me. Now before you all pile on to me, there's no reason why he would not answer truthfully. He replied by saying that he did not care about the photos that my mother-in-law took in the woods. He said having seen them, they are objectively bad, and they are not something that he would want to keep or even want in the first place considering all the distress that it caused. He said the only photo he would want was the one of the look on my face staring up at him when we said to each other, I do. He joked that he should have just strapped a GoPro on his forehead to capture that, but he doesn't need a photo to remember it. And you know what? I would not have been against the idea because it would have been private between the two of us. He also cannot give me a reason for being silent in the car, and also his mother-in-law does have a severe mental health disorder, and I believe there is a fear around setting her off on a spiral. I then explained how ambushed I felt, and that I only got out of the car to try and keep the peace. And when I said this, that really upset him. He then apologized for not speaking up, and I think he understands the main issues were not being supported and feeling helpless. Now, there were quite a few people saying that I should not have even gotten out of the car, but honestly, it kind of seems like a lose-lose situation. If I didn't get out of the car, then someone would call me a jerk for throwing a childish tantrum by refusing to leave the car if I posted that scenario. I also apologize for letting my insecurities become part of our marriage. He had not realized just how deep my issues run, and I am guilty for putting on a brave face, so I can't really blame him for that. It's also important to note that we don't want any drama. I'm not going to hold a grudge against my mother-in-law, and this is the first time there has ever been an issue like this in our family, and my husband will talk to her, but just not about my insecurities. He suggested asking her to delete the photos, but I said we both know that she would expire on that hill, so we are just going to move past this entire thing. However, I don't know what to do if she makes them public. We both agree that what matters is our 9-year-long relationship that is now a marriage, and not a single day where some papers were signed. And I'm sure that comment is going to upset a lot of people who feel a wedding day should be a magical, life-changing event, but it is how we view our lives together, so it really is nothing to do with your feelings. I also wouldn't put our relationship or marriage on hold simply because times are tough, so honestly, why would I put this one day off? We're also not American, and marriage is not such a big deal here. Many couples don't even get married, and that is honestly very normal. Since before everything happened, our main reason for getting married was so that I could legally use his protected surname. So this is why we went to the registry office, and it was only 8 people in attendance. So hopefully that clears everything up, because moving forward, this situation is definitely going to be behind us. Honestly, good for the original poster and their husband for figuring this all out. Initially, I was very offended by the way the mother-in-law acted, but obviously, just like everything in life, there's a lot of nuance to this story and this situation. And for me, this story sheds a really nice light that yes, you can work it out. Not everything is so black and white, and things don't necessarily have to end in some awful, horrible breakup. Because if they wanted to, the original poster and her husband absolutely could have let this ruin them. But the fact that they're picking up the pieces and moving forward together, in my opinion, is incredibly inspiring. My mom is job hunting for the first time in 30 years, and it is simply cathartic to watch her struggle in the ways that I did when it comes to finding a good job. Here's what happened. Okay, so my mom is now job hunting, and my God, she is finding out firsthand exactly what it's like to hunt for a job these days. And frankly, with all things considered, it is incredibly cathartic. Every single problem I've had job hunting in the past, and recently the ones that she told me were just excuses and not enough hustle, she is now experiencing firsthand. She won't accept that you can't just walk into a store for an application, or just talk to the manager and snag yourself a job, which is something she's told me to do millions of times. I've helped her make a resume and sign up for a few places, and she has absolutely no idea what to do. The job that she left, she had for about 30 years, and used computers every single day. From the time that she started working there in the 90s, she has used computers and the internet. She even helped people do the same over the phone, but apparently reading a job posting and clicking apply is way too advanced for her. She also takes out every bit of frustration on me, and I'm literally just there trying to help out. Any attempt at trying to explain how something works now compared to then is met with her saying, "Don't talk to me like I'm a child," or she'll say, "Why do you treat me like I'm stupid?" Or she then starts crying and says that I'm making fun of her. She has no idea how to handle rejection from a job because she was handed one over 30 years ago and stayed there this entire time. She will call so many times, basically bothering the managers and the employees every single day because she says you can't get a job if you don't show you're dedicated. She's also said some really nasty things things to people over the phone after they told her to stop calling. She left the job that she had because of the stress and wants a completely different type of job, but also absolutely refuses to work somewhere that isn't an office. She won't even consider working part-time in retail because apparently that's beneath her, even though it's totally fine for everybody else. She left her job on a whim, cashed out her 401k, and spent every single penny. And now she's in dire need of a job, and I'm the only one willing to help her out. And at this point, I don't know what to do anymore. It's like dealing with an actual toddler. She asks me for help and then tells me that I'm an idiot that doesn't know what I'm talking about. What should I do? Oh man, this is some wonderful karma happening right now. The job market sucks, and finding a good job is so difficult these days because literally you're stuck in some kind of limbo where you're applying online like crazy, and then you get these automated responses that say, no, we're not going to hire you. That is really frustrating, and I definitely know where the mom is coming from in this story. But also, it really seems like she's getting exactly what she deserved, because she has constantly, all throughout your childhood, told you that you haven't done enough in finding a good job. And in my opinion, despite the troubles that you are going through, this is the best silver lining you could possibly find. When you subscribe, make sure to hit the bell to turn on notifications. To finish listening to all the stories, check out the playlist at the top of the description. And if you want some chill music to put on in the background, check out easymode.com. If you like Am I the Jerk, subscribe to Am I the Genius. Everything will be linked down below in the description.